Hello, I'm John Weiler with the Sovereign Passage Assembly, and this is our daily brief for November 22nd, 2018. Okay, we are still in Parashah Toldot, going into this Sabbath, and we are doing our study throughout the week of this. And today we're on Bere'shiyth, or Genesis chapter 27, and we're going to study verse 1 through 46. And this is the account of Yaakov taking Esau's blessing. And it's a sad account, when we read something like this, because we're actually seeing into the lives of other people that lived here on this earth, and we see deception, and we see hurt being caused. So it's a sad account, because if we would have put ourselves in the shoes of Yitzhak, for example, how bad, we would feel to be betrayed by your wife, your spouse, Rivka, how you were tricked into hurting one of your sons, and how your other son was part of the deception for that. So it's a sad deal. But the implications are for us. These are things for us to learn from here. And there's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. So I'm going to start by reading. The main thing here is we always begin and end in His Word. So that means we have to read it. And then we reflect on His Word. It's good to get commentary from other human beings, because Yah has poured His Spirit out on humanity. But ultimately it's on us. It's our responsibility to listen and see with discernment, testing everything to His Word. So as we're studying here, I would ask that if you are watching this, you are seeking righteousness. Okay? You are wanting the things of YAHUAH. So I would, if you're not, I would ask that you have your Word out with you. So you're not just listening to these things, you are also following along. That way you have His Word, and then you can have that additional piece to absorbing that into your spirit. Okay, so it registers your hearing and seeing at the same time. Okay, so let's start here in Bere'shiyth chapter 27, verse 1. And it came to pass that when Yitzhak was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, My son, and he said unto him, Behold, here am I. That's Esau's reply. And he says, Behold, now I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray you, your weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. And Rivka heard when Yitzhak spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rivka spoke unto Yaakov her son, saying, Behold, I heard your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless you before YAHUAH, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command you. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of goats, and I will make them savory meat for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, and he may eat, and that he may bless you before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivkah, his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father perchance will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be your curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went, and fetched, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rivkah took goodly raiment from her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Yaakov her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Yaakov. And he came unto his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who are you, my son? That's Yitzhak's reply. And Yaakov says unto his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done according as you bade me. Arise, I pray you, sit and eat of my venison, that your soul may bless me. And Yitzhak said unto his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Yaakov says, Because YAHUAH Eloheka brought it to me. And Yitzhak said unto Yaakov, Come near, I pray you, that I may feel you, my son, whether you be my very son Esau or not. And Yaakov went near unto Yitzhak his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Yaakov's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, Are you my very son Esau? And Yaakov, and he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless you. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Yitzhak said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which YAHUAH has blessed. Therefore Elohim give you of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you. And it came to pass, as soon as Yitzhak had made an end of the blessing, the end of blessing Yaakov, and Yaakov was yet scarce gone out of the presence of Yitzhak his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that your soul may bless me. And Yitzhak his father said unto them, Who are you? And he said, Esau said, I am your son, your firstborn Esau. And Yitzhak trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before you came, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with subtlety, and has taken away your blessing. And Esau, he says, Is he not rightly named Yaakov? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? And Yitzhak answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have given him your Lord, and all his brethren have I given him for servants. And with grain and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto you, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Yitzhak his father answered and said unto him, Behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by your sword shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck. And Esau hated Yaakov because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Yaakov. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rivkah. And she sent and called Yaakov, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, your brother Esau, as touching you, comforts himself, purposing to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until your brother's fury turn away, until your brother's anger turn away from you, and he forget that which you have done to him. Then I will send and fetch you from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rivkah said unto Yitzhak, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Yaakov take a woman of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? That sounds terrible. That sounds like a terrible situation. Very sad. So, it begins with Yitzhak wanting to give the blessing of earthly things to Esau, the eldest son, who is focused on the earthly life. Wants to give that to him. Rivkah, his wife, hears it, and she makes that choice to intervene. And at that point, she gets the younger Yaakov and says, do what I tell you to do, okay? Obey my voice. And then tells him how to deceive his father. And he says to his mom, he goes, I don't look anything, I don't sound like Esau, I don't look like him. Even if father were to feel me, I will then, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver and bring a curse upon me. Well, he is a deceiver, okay? Seem to him as a deceiver, but he will be found out, is what he's saying, and be a curse on him. Which he says, upon me be your curse, my son. Well, it didn't really work that way, because the curse did land upon Yaakov, okay? Esau was a man of the world. Esau had no love of the way of YAHUAH. He didn't want anything to do with it. His life would have been, and was, this life here. Okay, which is just a very short amount of time. All right, this is our proving ground. So, the proving ground, we make our choices. We're reading about all these choices right here, but we see the choice of Esau from the very beginning. He wants nothing to do with the birthright. Okay, he says, isn't Yaakov rightly named as the supplanter? Because he's cheated him out of the birthright, is what he says, and then now his blessing. And it's true, he treated him out of the blessing, but not the birthright. Esau didn't want the birthright. The birthright is carrying the way of YAHUAH, it's guarding the way of YAHUAH. That means learning it, and then living it, and then passing it on to your children. But he didn't want that. Okay, he wanted nothing to do with that. So, but the way that Esau was dealt with here was completely wrong. All right, completely wrong, and not the way of YAHUAH. We see the reaction from Yitzhak, his father, where he began to tremble very exceedingly. That's verse 33. And he said, where is he that has taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before you came and have blessed him. So he says, who? And Yitzhak doubted at least two times. And he said, are you my son? Are you my son? And decided to go along, okay? Go along with that. But you look at it from our human life perspective, I mean, from what we can gather here from the text, the word, what reason would he have not to trust his son? Or not to trust his wife? Okay? All right, so the curse then is the blessing in this case. Okay, we as the called out now to Yahuwah, we got to pay close attention here. Because the blessing was, let's look at it one more time. We'll start at verse 27. It says, and he came near, kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. Therefore Elohim give you the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you, and lord over your brethren. And let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you. Okay, now we see these words, cursed be those who curse you, blessed be blessed that bless you. We see this all throughout the Torah, okay, for the upright of Yah, for Yasharel. But it's ultimately this that becomes a large contributing factor to the apostasy or the going away of Yasharel from the way of Yah. Okay, it's the blessings of the other nations bowing down to Yasharel, them being lords over their brethren, and the curses to those who curse the upright of Yasharel, and the blessings on those that bless them. Ultimately, it played a large role in the destruction, okay, the carrying away of the upright of Yahweh. So, we ourselves today, when we're reading this, we need to pay close attention here, because we want blessings in life. We want stuff. We want things. We want comfort. We want to not have to, in our minds, worry about anything, okay? We want a little bit of a security. But all of that is a snare. It's all a snare to us, because then we have the greater potential to want to serve it, okay, to serve our things, to retain the things that we have and then amass more. Okay, so we got to pay close attention to what was the underlying cause here of the fracturing of these relationships. Okay. Now, what I would like to do though today is I want to this morning I get up in the morning and I read through our the portion of the Torah throughout the week. I have it broken down so I can study it and then reflect on it. And that's what we talk about today, okay, on these days. And I was reading today, and I just in thinking, okay, we have Esau and Yaakov, who are the sons of Yitzhak, the son of Abraham, who learned directly from Shem and Noach, who survived the worldwide catastrophe of the flood, what we think as humans, the destruction of the world in the flood, and they lived before the flood. Okay, so they knew exactly what was the cause of Yah purifying the world, cleansing the world. Okay, cleansing from iniquity. All right, we could look at it as a mikvah. All right, our baptism or immersion. All right, so it destroyed the creation that had gone so far away that Yah didn't recognize it anymore. Okay, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Okay, and so that's another sign for us here to be thinking about as far as our priorities throughout each day. But this group of people that we're studying right now had something to hang on to through like their immediate family members, that they could say, well, we need to be doing this, need to be following the way of Yah, and then telling others, carrying the light to show others the direction in life for their betterment, to save their lives because of these accounts and these things that have occurred. And yet we have Esau, who wanted nothing to do with it, knowing all the blessings that were promised through his grandfather, Abraham, to his son, Yitzhak. And he could see the tangible result of that with the blessings that, that was passed on to Yitzhak from Abraham, and then the blessings of Yitzhak that we just read about yesterday, and how he received things by hearkening to the words of Yahuwah. But yet, he still wants nothing to do with it. He wants the exact opposite of that. He wants everything of the world. And that would have been the blessing. That would have been given to him. He would have been, because that was his heart's desire. That's what he wanted. So that's what would have been given to him. But it would have only been for a short amount of time. However long the life is, the life of the body is, and we don't know that. Okay, but that's where those blessings would end. All right, the true blessing is following the way of YAHUAH, because that leads to life. That leads to becoming yakad, or one, or beloved one, with Yahweh Yahusha. Okay, through the Ruach HaKodesh. That's the blessing there, that we all become one together in the kingdom of YAHUAH. Okay, in the life to come. So, what I was considering this morning is how could somebody want to not be part of that? With all of those things around, how in this particular time, how could Esau not want that? How could he want the opposite of that? Well, then, when we think thoughts like that, we should be immediately going to ourselves, right? We should be thinking, well, why didn't I want that all this time ago? What has taken so long, and praise Yahweh that we have this opportunity now to that we can now see in here, and we can respond and say, thank you for this opportunity to live. But what took so long? Really, what took so long for us? And there's quite a bit that can be said here. But just like with Esau, it is the direction of our heart. Okay, it's the direction of our spirit. All right, because we have this tendency, to go back to our preconceived notions of the life that we've come out of. We have this concept that God knows our heart. That's what I've been told my whole life, is God knows my heart. But Yahweh tells us that the heart is evil beyond measure. Who can measure the wickedness of the human heart? Okay, because we are torn. We are not whole or complete. We are fractured. We have the desires of the body in this world and the influences of the world around us that is constantly pulling us away from the desire of the Spirit, which is to be one, Yachad, with Yahweh Yahusha. Oh, what a wretched man I am. That's what we study in Romans chapter 7, with all the workers stating, I have this rule here that when I want to do the way of Yah, that the fracturing point of the way of the world is always going to be there too. So we are at war with ourselves because we are not complete. So if we're thinking here, Well, God knows our heart. He does know it. He knows that it's fractured and that it's sick. Okay, sick is probably the best term to use because we can heal from a sickness, or we can get better from a sickness. And the healing comes through Yahweh. Okay? It is the healing for the nations. Okay, it's a tree of life, the word of Yah, the way of Yah, the Messiah, who is the Word made flesh. He is the fullness of the way of Yah, which is healing for the nations. Okay? So let's read about this here, and then let's talk about what had made us not want this, and to help us also to get a better understanding of those around us who are in the same situation that we used to be without realizing where they are, just like we did not realize where we were. Okay, and we do this so we have an understanding of other people. Because that's ultimately what we should be focusing on, is to love our neighbor as ourselves. Okay, as we want to be loved through the way of Yah. And we have this fracturing from our body and spirit, the things of the world and the things of the world to come. And we have this fracturing that we ourselves are still coming to terms with, to where we can pull away from the things of this world and focus on the world, the life to come. And all that takes time. And we still are around others who are incomplete, okay, are fractured in that sense, not complete. And for us to not behave in the way of Esau, okay, that hated Yaakov, for example, to behave in the way that we used to be, where we hold a resentment, or we hold like a projection, I guess, of conflict, or a projection of staying away from, okay, to repel those. We have to understand where we used to be and where we where we still are, okay, and be able to relate to those around us who are also in that same state or same situation. So let's go to the healing for the nations, Yahushua HaMashiach, and let's go to Besorah Yehukanan, which is the Gospel of John, chapter 5. Okay, we'll start with verse 1, and we're going to read. So again, please get in His Word, follow along, and if you don't have it, find it later and read it. These are the words of the fullness of the way of Yah. Okay, so we have to pay close attention to them. So chapter 5, verse 1, it says, "After this there was a feast of the Yahudim, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Ivrit tongue Beit Chesed, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. When Yahushua saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, Will you be made whole? That's what Yahushua said, okay? Will you be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steps down before me. And Yahushua said unto him, Rise, take up your bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. The Yahadim therefore said unto him that was cured, It is the Sabbath, it is not lawful for you to carry your bed. He answered them, He that made me whole, the same said to me, Take up your bed and walk. Then asked they him, What man is that which said unto you, Take up your bed and walk? And he said that he that was healed knew not who it was, for Yahushua had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward, Yahushua finds him in the temple and says unto him, Behold, you are made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto you. The man departed and told the Yahadim that it was Yahushua who had made him whole. And therefore did the Yahadim persecute Yahushua, and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath. But Yahushua answered them, My Father works hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Yahadim sought the more to kill him, because he had not only broken the Sabbath, but said also that YAHUAH was his father, making himself equal with YAHUAH. Okay, we'll stop there for just a moment. The Yahudim were saying, hey, to this man who was just healed on the Sabbath by the fullness of the Torah, okay, by Yahushua, who had the spirit of Elohim on him, okay, who is the example for us for how to live, had the authority to forgive sins because he had the spirit of Elohim on him. He was the son of Elohim. And he says, rise up, take your bed and walk, healing him on the blessed day of Sabbath. But the Yahadim at that time said, hey, catches him, said, hey, you're not supposed to be picking stuff up and walking around with it, not to carry your bed. And the man says, who was just healed, he says, well, the man who just healed me told me to pick it up and walk. Which is an amazing thing, because for 38 years he had been unable to do that. And then they asked him, well, who is this man? But Yahushua had left, okay, and conveyed himself away, because there was multitude being in that place. But then Yahushua finds this man in the temple, and he says, behold, you are made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto you. Sin no more. You have been healed. Sin no more. Okay. So, our Adonai, our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, has just told us, okay, that we have been made whole. All right, and we have. If we are the called out to YAHUAH, we know the truth of the word, and we can hear him, and we can see the way to go, the way of YAHUAH, the path, and we are drawing nearer to him through seeking righteousness through his word, and we are being made whole. Okay, and that is only possible, I think, YAHUAH, through Yahushua HaMashiach, my Adonai. It's only made possible through Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the fullness of the Torah, the fullness of the way of YAHUAH. Okay, and he's telling us right now, behold, you are made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto you. Okay, and we know that sin is not following the way of YAHUAH. Okay, there's a lot of ways that that's put in the first epistle of Yehukanan, of John. It tells us sin is the breaking of Torah. Okay, it's 1 John 3:4. Now, the breaking of Torah is a little bit different thought process than not walking after or walking in the ways of YAHUAH Yahushua. Okay, breaking the Torah is, breaking rules and whatever. It's not living your life. But that's the concept, though. Okay, to break the Torah is to not follow with your heart. That's not your heart's desire. Your spiritual desire is to walk as the Messiah walked and stay whole, okay? Stay complete. Because when we start to sin, we start to fracture again. And that's a terrible state to be in. Okay, that's the state that we came out of. And we don't want to be that way anymore. We want to be whole. And we don't want to have this information that we've been given to, that's been given to us through the Ruach HaKodesh for the things that we know to do. But then we don't do it. Okay? Sin no more lest a worse thing come unto you. We have been made whole. We have. All right? We've been made whole, or we're in the process of becoming complete. Okay? To know the things that are healing us, okay, the way that is bringing us healing, and then to not do them or to walk away from them, okay, lest something worse will occur to you. Okay, we'll be beaten with more stripes. Okay, that's another example that Yahushua uses to us, because we knew what to do and what not to do, but we decided not to, we decided not to listen. Okay, or we just didn't want it, like Esau. Okay, we want nothing to do with it. Okay, so there we have Yahushua telling us not to sin anymore. The second thing is that the Yahudim at this time see this man walking around on Sabbath carrying something. And they say, hey, you're not supposed to do that, you're breaking Sabbath. Well, he's not breaking Sabbath. That's not breaking Sabbath. Picking something up off the ground after you've just been healed by YAHUAH Yahushua, that is not breaking the rest that we're called to through our covenant relationship with the fourth commandment. What we see today is a fourth commandment, to guard the Sabbath, to remember it, to guard it, and to not work on that day. Okay, to pick something up off the ground after just being healed by the fullness of the way of YAHUAH is not work. He's not working to further his physical state, okay? Because that's what we do when we work. If we're living, off the land, we're going to go out and harvest, okay? Or we're going to go out and do something that's going to make it so we can eat the next day, all right? It's the same thing, if we have the concept of currency. All right, I'm going to go out and work so I get paid, all right, so I can pay my bills and do all this stuff. We're doing these things to further our physical life. And that is not the focus, all right, of the called out of YAHUAH. The focus is the life to come. So we rest from that day, and that's a gift given to us from our loving Creator. We will work ourselves to death because we want the most comfort physically in this life. Because we see no life after this. I mean, that's the reality. But the called out to YAHUAH, we know that there's a life after this. And we know that's the true life. We're made in the image of YAHUAH. And we are yearning to get back to the original state of our creation. Okay? So, a man, even though they are saying that he's breaking the Sabbath, Yahushua, not breaking the Sabbath. He is the one that gave us the Sabbath. And for anybody to say, well, Yahushua broke the Sabbath by healing on it, then we have to look at, again, the words of another human being in the direction of their spirit. Okay? The sickness, anyways. We'll call it the sickness. All right. And then also said that YAHUAH was his father, making himself equal with YAHUAH. Well, we know that he is, okay? He's the word of Yah made flesh. Okay, that's how the Besor Yehukanan begins. All right, we see Yahushua made on the first day of creation. Okay, let there be light. So, yes, he is. He is the spirit of Yah lighted on him. The Ruach HaKodesh lighted on him like a dove in the immersion of Yehukanan. So, he is the fullness of the way. He is the anointed, the Mashiach. He is the Christos, the anointed one, chosen. He is the prophet that's promised from Moshe, okay, to come. So anyways, making himself equal with YAHUAH. So we'll continue on here in verse 19. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, Amen, amen, truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. For what things soever he does, these also does the Son likewise. For the Father loves the Son, and shows him all things that he himself does. And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. For as the Father raises up the dead, and quickens them, even so the Son quickens whom he will. For the Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honors not the Son honors not the Father which has sent him. Amen, amen, I say unto you, he that hears my word and believes on him that sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Amen, amen, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live. For as the Father has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the son of Adam. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. There is another that bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. Ye sent unto YAHUAH, and he bore witness unto the truth. But I receive not testimony from man. But these things I say, that ye might be saved. He was a burning and shining light, and ye were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. But I have greater witness than that of YAHUAH. For the works which the Father has given me to finish, the same works that I do, bear witness of me, that the Father has sent me. And the Father himself which has sent me has borne witness of me. Ye have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape, and ye have not his word abiding in you. For whom he has sent, him ye believe not. Search the Scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And ye will not come to me, that ye might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that ye have not the love of YAHUAH in you. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe, which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from YAHUAH only? Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Moshe, in whom ye trust. For if ye believed Moshe, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? Man, it's amazing. The word of Yah, the words of Yahushua HaMashiach, raising the dead. The hour is coming. So verse 25, Amen, Amen, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live. We were dead. We were the dead that he's speaking of. The hour is coming when we shall hear his voice. We have heard his voice. Praise Yah. And now we live. Okay, so the he says, "You will not come to me, that ye may have life. Search the Scriptures, for in them ye think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me." So the word of Yah testifies of Yahushua, the word made flesh. And ye will not come to me that ye may have life. You're not going to come to me that you will live. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Yahweh in you. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. We have that tendency. We will follow after human beings, and we will go to other human beings and say, well, what does this mean? What should we do here? And every human being that does not carry the light, that follow the commands of Yahweh Yahusha, follow the way of YAHUAH, walk as the Messiah walked, they will be sick. They will be the fractured, the incomplete, and they will continue to speak words of incompleteness, words of sickness. And we will receive that because we in turn are also sick and incomplete. And so those words are the words that we hear, not the words of completeness, which is the words of Mashiach, the words of Yahushua. We will not hear those. And that's because we don't have the love of the Father in us. Okay? Don't have the love of the Father. We did not have the love of the Father, even though we said, I love God and I love Jesus all our life. And God knows how much I love Him, and I'm just trying to really get by with my life. I'm trying to love Him the best way I can while making my way in the world today. Excuse me, too. This truly, I am so thankful to understand that I really was dead. And now that I have life and know what that means, I know that many have said to you, don't forget about Jesus when you have started to come out of the world. Oh, that sounds wonderful, but don't forget about Jesus when you would talk to friends and family. But what he says here is, how can you believe which receive honor one of another and seek not the honor that comes from Yahweh only? It says, do you not think that I will accuse you to the Father? There's one that accuses you, even Moshe, in whom you trust. For if you had believed Moshe, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how will you believe my words? For somebody to say, don't forget about Jesus, well, what are those people really saying to you? What are they really saying? And what would you have been saying too at that time? Don't forget about Jesus. It's all only about Jesus. Well, if right here, the Mashiach is saying, if you had believed Moshe, because he's talking to a group of people who had made up their own Torah. Okay, I mean, essentially that's what happened. All right, it turned into having the core of the relationship, which is actually 10 things, 10 base things, and expounded on it. Okay, to where they created their own YAHUAH. Okay, they made their own YAHUAH and turned from the belief of the way of YAHUAH to the belief in the way of men, saying this is the way of YAHUAH. Okay, so Yahushua here says, if you believe Moshe, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you don't believe his writings, how will you believe my words? So today, in the universal churches and those protesting the universal church, they have Jesus that has died so we can continue to live any way we want to. We can continue to live in sin because they don't believe the writings of Moshe, all right, which is the way of YAHUAH given through his spokesperson, his prophet, Moses, okay? It says, if you would have believed Moses, for he wrote of me, but if you don't believe his writings, how are you going to believe the words of the Mashiach? And the words of the Mashiach says, go and sin no more. It says, behold, you're made whole. You're no longer dead. You're alive, and you're made whole. Go and sin no more, unless something worse will happen to you. That's what he says. But if we don't believe the words of Moshe, who had written about our Mashiach, the Word made flesh, then how are we going to believe his words of go and sin no more? We're not. We didn't. We didn't believe that because we just continued in sin. We broke the fourth command, all the time. And even today, there would be those of us who will say, well, the Sabbath is every day. Not understanding what the Sabbath is. Sabbath is not every day. That means you never go to work, But the point here is we have been given another chance through Yahushua. And we can see it now because our spiritual desire is on Yahweh. We are seeking righteousness through his word with the understanding that he sanctifies us. We are delivered by Yahweh through Yahushua HaMashiach, my Adonai. Before this, though, our spiritual desire was not on Yahweh. And so we had created Yahweh. Okay, we had created our own God. And by in the same turn, created Yahushua, or Jesus. Let's turn very quickly, since we're getting a little tight on time, to Romans, chapter 1, letter to the Romans. And we're going to read all of chapter 1. Now, I am reading from a compilation put together by a group at the Sefer Publications. And you can find more about the Sefer. The Sefer, Bible's not the right word to use here, but the scriptures, okay, put together through the Sefer, at Sefer, at Sefer.net. Now, I have read different translations, and with that, the transliterations of the different works, okay, from the 1611 King James. That's one that I have in tandem with this, and they're very, very similar, the Sefer to the 1611 King James. I have a Septuagint version and a like a modern language, I guess you can call it, from the Holman Christian Standard. And I use these four when I am referencing things, and then I also have a program called The Word that gives me the Strong's usage of the words. Okay, because it's not like you can call it a translation. It's how the word is used in the scripture. So it gives me that opportunity to have like a broader base, I guess, of what, because I don't speak Greek, don't read Greek, do not read Greek, do not speak ancient Hebrew, okay, Paleo Hebrew or modern Hebrew, or read it. But these things here, the technology that we have and the ability to have these different versions of the word has helped me to broaden out, give me a broader understanding. Okay, and that's ultimately what we're doing when we're seeking righteousness, is to gather that understanding of our relationship in being yakad with Yahushua, with Yahweh Yahushua. All right. So in the Sefer, though, they use the term Paul, which is a Hebrew term, and not Paul or Paulus, which would be Latin, I believe, either Greek or Latin, as a name, as a proper name. Because, like, for example, the letter to the Romans was written by Tertius, And this is a note here in the Sefer, but it's at the end of the letter, who wrote this letter, and it's sent by Phoebe to another called out assembly, after this called out assembly at Centrea, and may or may not have been written by Shaul. Okay, Shaul may or may not been authored by or spoken to where Tertius is writing it down. But Paul, in the Hebrew, which had been the native tongue of Shaul, if we're looking at Shaul being Paul, means worker. Okay, worker. And in this case, we can see Tertius was the one who wrote this, and this is the first that I see of Tertius, okay, in the word. So we have a group of worker, the worker, okay, for the way of YAHUAH. So Paul as the worker, which is us, okay? So it's not one, but it's the one that are working in collective, yachad, for the way of YAHUAH, okay? So as we're seeing with an understanding and discernment, reading with discernment in his word, praise Yah, through the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, so we're going to read this, though, beginning here with the Epistle to the Romans, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, Paul, a servant of Yahushua HaMashiach, called to be an apostle, separated unto the Besorah of YAHUAH, which he had promised afore by his prophets in the Holy Scriptures, concerning his Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, our Adonai, which was made of the seed of David, according to the flesh, and declared to be the Son of Elohim with power, according to the Ruach HaKodesh, by the resurrection from the dead, by whom we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the belief among all nations for his name, among whom are ye also called of Yahushua HaMashiach, to all that be in Rome, beloved of YAHUAH, called to be Kodashim, grace to you and peace from YAHUAH our Father, and from Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. First, I thank my Yah through Yahushua HaMashiach for you all, that your belief is spoken of throughout the whole world. For YAHUAH is my witness, whom I serve with my Ruach in the Besorah of his Son, that without ceasing I make mention of you always in my prayers, making requests, if by any means now at length I might have a prosperous journey by the will of YAHUAH to come unto you. For I long to see you, that I may impart unto you some spiritual gift, to the end ye may be established. That is, that I may be comforted together with you, by the mutual belief both of you and me. Now I would not have you ignorant, brethren, that oftentimes I purposed to come unto you, but was let hitherto, that I might have some fruit among you also, even as among the other nations. I am a debtor both to the Yavanim and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise. So as much as is in me, I am ready to preach the Besorah to you that are at Rome also. For I am not ashamed of the Besorah of Mashiach, for it is the power of Yah unto salvation to everyone that believes, to the Yahudi first, and also to the Yavani. For therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed from belief to belief, as it is written, the just shall live by belief. For the wrath of Yah is revealed from heaven against all wickedness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of Yah is manifest in them, for YAHUAH has showed it unto them. For from the creation of the world the invisible things of Yah are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and divinity, so that they are without excuse. Because that, when they knew YAHUAH, they glorified him not as YAHUAH. Neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible Yah into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore YAHUAH also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own heart, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of Yah into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause Yah gave them up to vile affections, even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain Yah in their knowledge, YAHUAH gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Yah, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who, knowing the judgment of Yah, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. That's the beginning of this letter to the called out assembly, speaking of who they used to be, who we used to be, who they see around them, who we still see around us. Okay, so saying here, because that when they knew YAHUAH, they glorified him not as YAHUAH, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. They knew YAHUAH, knew of YAHUAH, but they glorified him not as YAHUAH. And they weren't thankful, and they became vain in their imaginations. Okay? They made up their own, and their foolish heart was darkened. Okay? Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible Yah to an image made like corruptible man. And then adds into birds, four-footed beasts, and creeping things. And that part there can lead us away from the point of what's being stated here. It's changing YAHUAH. Okay? From changing the word of YAHUAH. Wherefore YAHUAH also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of Yah into a lie, and worshipped and served creature more than Creator, who is blessed forever, truly. Amen. Who changed the truth of Yah. The truth is the way of Yah, is the word of Yah, into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So those of us who had made God and Jesus something different than what YAHUAH Yahusha is in his word, we had worshipped the creation more than the Creator. Okay, and then because of this, Yah gave them up to their vile affections, and then it talks about homosexuality. Okay, well, homosexuality is very it's very much part of our world today. Okay, much of what it was then. I don't think it's ever not been. There was a period in history where people would be murdered for that, in terrible ways. They still are, and I point back here, in some of the, some of the other countries, the Middle East, Africa, and other places like that. But ultimately what's occurring there is murder. Okay, they're murdering homosexuals, so they're murdering the ones who are causing the death, the murder, going against the way of Yah, is they're murdering those who are going against the way of Yah. All right. But Paul the worker is using what they see around them. So evidently this was something that would have been part of worship, which, we look through history, that was part of the worship in the temples, okay, of the fallen spirits of that time, that are still around in this time too. And even as they did not like to retain Yah in their knowledge, Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind. Those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiters, haters of Yah, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, without who knowing the judgment of Yah, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. All of those things right there, being filled with all unrighteousness all the way up until implacable and unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Yah, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them, was us. Okay, and still is. That's the very dangerous thing there. That was us. Okay, that was our heart's spiritual desire. That's living for the world. That's the life of now. It has nothing to do with the life to come. It's in direct opposition to the life to come. And I'd say that we're still this way because we are. We just don't realize it yet. And as we keep moving closer, drawing nearer to Yahweh Yahushua, these things are unveiled to us. That, hey, this is what you're doing. You're still doing this. This is what you need to stop to do. This is what you need to do to stop doing that. And then we have that choice to either do the things that we stop, that are causing that separation or that incompleteness, or we don't. Okay, and then something worse will happen to us. All right, according to the words of Mashiach. All right. Now again, we're not following the way of Yahweh, so we don't get into trouble here. When we start to draw nearer to our Creator and our Savior through His Word, we have that change that's occurring inside that is showing us the completeness. So where Yahushua says, now you have been made whole again. Go and sin no more. Don't break yourself. Okay? Stay on the way of Yahuwah. This is what brings completeness. This is what makes it. This is what brings peace. Okay? It's peace is in lack of conflict, because we see the result of the way of the world of the flesh right here, from verse 28 to 32. And that's the result of the spiritual direction, which is broken or sick. So we see these things as we are in the process of being healed through Yahushua HaMashiach, okay, our tree of life, the Word made flesh, okay? So, to go back to the beginning here, with the question is, how could Esau have not wanted to be whole, not wanted to be complete? It's because his desire was not on that. His desire was not on that. Our desire was not on that. We didn't really know anything different, you know? I mean, most of us woke up in the nations. Our eyes were open to, you know, the way that we had always lived and how everything that we've been told and what we then repeated and told others, told our children, did everything, all these things. We seen that it was wrong. It was completely wrong. And it was causing us to die. It was actually, we were dead. But then we heard, praise Yah, through the grace and mercy delivered through YAHUAH, through Yahushua HaMashiach. And then we turned, we repented, we turned to His way to receive the healing. We made that choice. Now we could have said, no, that's not right, and stayed on His path, or my path, okay, and not on His, and say, no, I don't think that's right, and then continued on. I don't think that's right means I don't really want to do that. And there are still points in our walk where we do that, where we learn something in here that goes in direct disagreement with what we want. And we're not fully aware of it, like we're not actively thinking about it. And then we say, well, I don't know if that's right. I'm just going to think about that for a little while longer. And we are not quick to act to change that. Okay. Eventually, we're going to come to that understanding that either we need to hearken to the word, that this is what He tells us to do and why, and then we do it, or we don't. You know, even to be on the path of Yah, on the way of Yah, we can just as easily walk right off of it. We have to understand this. We have to understand ourselves and our nature. We have to understand the nature of those around us and the world around us. It is in direct rebellion to the way of YAHUAH. The way of YAHUAH is not easy for us in this life, in this body. And we can just as easily say, I want nothing to do with it, as Esau did, and just want to be as comfortable as we are, as we can possibly be in this life now. Get the most out of this life before we die. Or we can focus on the life to come. So, which is healing. And that'll actually make our life here, it'll make our life complete. Okay, so we're going to stop here. And I hope that this portion of Torah, the Parashah Toldot, has blessed you as it has blessed me. And I know that I will be reflecting on the words of Yahushua HaMashiach throughout my day here today. And we'll go and enjoy those that Yah has given to me to walk His way together, which is my family. If you don't have anybody that you're with directly, just continue to seek Him, and remain steadfast in His word. We are here as the worker. Okay, that is our role. And there are those all around the world who are coming to the knowledge of the truth by being called out by YAHUAH. Praise YAHUAH. So if you don't have those, your family especially, that is walking with you, just hang in there. Hang in there. And seek Him in His word. Hearken to the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay? That's how we become Yachad, or one, beloved, as was put by the worker to the called out in Rome, and the beloved of YAHUAH. That's only accomplished through the way of Yahuwah. Okay, to conform ourselves in the way of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah. So hang in there, all right? Life does get easier, and we're focused on the life to come. Praise Yahweh for his word. Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.